Here's how to participate in a live Adobe Connect session. Start by installing the Adobe Connect meeting application on your computer. You can find it by Googling Adobe Connect Downloads and Updates. Scroll down to the Meeting Applications for Adobe Connect section. Download either the Windows or Mac installer and install the software as you would any other program. To attend an Adobe Connect meeting, you need to know its URL. That usually will have been sent to you by email or listed on a web page. We're all accustomed to simply clicking links, but in this case, you must instead copy and paste the URL directly into the Adobe Connect app. This is very important. If you simply click the URL in an email or on a web page, there's a good chance you will not be able to enter the meeting room. Your web browser is supposed to automatically launch the Adobe Connect app, but it often fails to do that correctly. Always access your online classroom or webinar by directly using the Adobe Connect app instead of a web browser like Chrome, Firefox, Edge, or Safari. Launch the Adobe Connect app and paste or type in the meeting URL and click Continue. Make sure Guest is selected, type your full name, and click Enter Room. Before moving ahead, I'll exit the meeting room and enter again. Notice when I start the Adobe Connect app again, the meeting I just entered is listed under the Recents tab. Two icons appear when I hover my mouse over the meeting. The first adds this course to my favorites list. The second choice is the launch icon, which I can use to quickly enter that online meeting room. Online courses use the same URL for the entire course, so you should only need to enter the URL once, since you can quickly return to the meeting room using the Recents or Favorites list. Here's a typical meeting room. The rectangular areas on the screen are called pods. Each pod provides a particular set of features within the meeting room. The meeting host chooses which pods to use and how they are arranged on the screen. The host also decides whether or not webcams will be used, and whether or not participants are allowed to use their microphones to speak in the meeting room. I'll go over this basic set of pods, but keep in mind your meeting room may look different. It's always a good idea to start by running the Audio Setup Wizard found on the Meeting menu. Follow the instructions as you move through the steps for selecting and testing your microphone and speakers. The Attendees pod lists the people in the meeting room, and it also shows you who, if anyone, is speaking. You notice a microphone with sound waves next to the person's name when they are using their microphone to broadcast to the meeting room. Also, this row of the Attendees pod lists the name of the current speaker. If you see there's an active speaker, but you can't hear that person, be sure your speakers are enabled. The speaker icon should be green, and that you have the correct speaker selected, and the volume is adjusted properly. The meeting host decides whether to allow participants to use their microphones. If the meeting host grants that permission, you'll see a microphone icon in the menu and next to your name in the attendees list. Click the icon to begin using the microphone you selected with the Audio Setup Wizard, and your voice will be heard by everyone in the meeting. Click the icon again to mute your microphone. A line through the microphone in the menu and next to your name in the Attendees pod means your microphone is muted. You should keep your microphone muted when you are not actually speaking to keep background sounds in your room from being broadcast to the meeting. Note you can use the drop-down menu next to the microphone to adjust your microphone volume or to select another microphone. Also on the menu is this status icon. When you select one of these from the drop-down list, an image appears next to your name in the Attendees pod. Click the icon again to clear your status. The chat pod is used to type messages that can be seen by everyone in the meeting. Simply type your message and click the send icon, or hit enter on your keyboard. The video pod displays webcam images. Initially, only the host can use a webcam. If your host enables webcam images for participants, you'll see a camera icon in the menu and on the video pod. Use the drop-down menu to start your webcam, and you'll see a preview in the video pod. Click Start Sharing to share your webcam image with everyone in the meeting. Select Stop My Webcam from the menu to turn off your webcam. The meeting host uses the Share pod to display PowerPoint presentations, PDF files, or to share their entire computer desktop. The Share pod can also be made full screen, which is very useful for seeing small text. Finally, note the host can record the meeting. You'll see this notice for a few seconds after the recording has been started, and this red dot will remain on to remind you that the meeting is being recorded. To leave the meeting, select Exit Adobe Connect from the Meeting menu. Here's a recap of a few important points. You must install the Adobe Connect app on your computer to attend meetings, and always use that Adobe Connect app instead of a web browser to connect to the meeting's URL. Run the Audio Setup Wizard to configure your speakers and microphone. You will be able to use your own microphone or webcam only if the host enables those rights for participants. Keep your microphone muted when you are not actually speaking. A red dot in the upper left corner means the meeting is being recorded. Finally, I'll mention it's possible to attend an Adobe Connect meeting with an Apple or Android mobile device. Search for the Adobe Connect app in the Apple Store or on Google Play.